Thank you, Holy Spirit. Hey guys, my name is Pastor IB. I am the author of the brand new book titled Fortitude, Broken Hearts in Worship. You can pre-order your own e-copy of my new book by sending a request to the IB Experience at gmail.com. Alternatively, you can use the WhatsApp button on my Facebook page at the IB Experience, and we sure will get back to you. The book Broken Hearts in Worship, the fourth in the series, was created to show people the small, big things that they can do to create an enabling environment to experience deliberate success, and then to enjoy intentional ascendance, especially during the darkest moments of their lives. When life hits you a deadly blow, and of course, oftentimes life will break your heart. When it does, how you see things is very important because it will determine what you get out of life. Thank you very much. Now, I have a very important question I would like to ask you, and it goes like this. In raising a child, do we prepare the child for the road, or do we prepare the road for the child? In raising a child, do we prepare the road for the child, or do we prepare the child for the road? A very, very important question, and I will deal with it in the course of this presentation. Welcome to the IB Experience. This is the Adveristy Intelligence Masterclass, and this is lesson number 1. To begin, let me warn that this class is not suitable for everybody because it's not designed to and may not babysit your feelings. This class is capable of changing your basic belief systems and creating a shift in your thought process. As a matter of fact, it is important to note that you are likely to go through a transformational phase that will lead to a radical change in your life experience. You are likely to end this session a different person than you started. And so the choice is yours. I know you want to know why the masterclass. Now, life experiences have 2 major dimensions. The book of Psalms, chapter number 30, verse 5, helps us to define it in a very simple way, and I quote, "Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning." Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. This means that at every point in time, you are either having a night or morning experience in life. Therefore, this class is meant for 2 set of persons. The first of them is, are those who are battling with their night experiences. Are you dealing with pain, sorrow, defeat, failure, or depression? Maybe you have lost a loved one, a great job, a great opportunity, or huge sums of money in business, and you feel like ending it all. Then you are in your night season or having your night experience. And this class is for you. This class is designed to help you maximize your night season so that you can get the best out of life. This class is designed to show you how to navigate at night so that you do not remain in that season longer than necessary. As a matter of fact, I believe that no pain in life should be wasted, all right? Every pain is convertible to gain. That's what I believe. It is not what happens to us in life that matters, but you see, when life happens, but how we see things will determine what we get out of life. The second category of persons that this broadcast, this masterclass is designed for are those who are enjoying, as it were, their morning experiences. Are you enjoying a beautiful love life? You have a great job, beautiful relationships, a great career, amazing opportunities, cash flow like never before, and you feel on top of the world. Wow, congratulations, because you are in your morning experience. And this class is also for you. The book has an admonishment for you. And I quote, it says to look after your sheep and cattle as carefully as you can, because wealth is not permanent. Not even nations last forever. You find that in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 23 and 24. Look after your sheep and cattle as carefully, intentionally as you can, because you see, wealth is not permanent. Tenures are not permanent. Positions on the job are not permanent. Nothing is permanent. Not even nations last forever. So if you fall into this category, this class is designed to help you to, come to terms with the fact that nothing in life is meant to be forever. Nothing in life is meant to last forever. This class is also designed to help you become more eternity conscious. This class is designed to get you ready for the different seasons of life so that you are empowered, all right? Empowered to get the best out of each of them. This class will help you get ready. It'll get you ready to cruise even at night when it comes, because it will. As a matter of fact, as you do life, now and again, life will break your heart. Life will give you an uppercut. Life will punch you below the belt, and oftentimes without your permission. You will even feel like ending it all. But this class is designed to help you maximize your darkest moments and then come out of it as soon as possible. Now, if you're ready for this shift and you stay with me, I'll be right back to take you on this journey. Wow. Thank you so much for staying with me on this journey. Now let's go together. Today, by way of an introduction, I'll be sharing a few thoughts with you on what I will title an introduction to adversity intelligence. An introduction to adversity intelligence. I have categorized intelligences into 6 for the purpose of this class. The first of them I will talk about is intelligence quotient, IQ, they call it. Intelligence quotient deals with your mathematical intelligence, your logic. It deals with linguistic intelligence. They all fall under this category. Linguistic intelligence has to do with writing and speaking. Intelligence quotients also deal with your visual, spatial capabilities, as it will be required in architecture. So intelligence quotient measures your comprehension ability, your ability to solve math, memorize things, and recall subject matters. The next I would like to deal with quickly is the emotional quotient, the EQ. The EQ deals with intrapersonal intelligence. It deals with your capacity for inner control. It measures your ability to maintain peace with others. It deals with your ability to be on time, be responsible, be honest, respect boundaries, be humble, be genuine, and be considerate. The next I'd like to talk about is the social quotient, the SQ. The social quotient deals with interpersonal intelligence. Don't forget, emotional quotient has to do with intrapersonal. But social quotient has to do with interpersonal intelligence. So it has to do with your social influence. Social quotient measures your ability to build a network of friends and then maintain it over a long period. The next kind of intelligence I want to quickly talk about is the psychomotor quotient, or the psychomotor intelligence. The psychomotor intelligence has to do, or it relates with physical and mental activities, bodily physical intelligence. That's where music comes, to play, sports, arts, dance, because it measures your ability to function with your muscles under the control of your mind, whether it's your vocal muscles, in music, or your physical body in arts and sports, or the physical ability. That's what gives you mastery. Through your legs, you can manipulate the leather ball in football and be able to dribble your way to the goal post. Capacity to gain mastery over the leather ball with your foot is an intelligence in its own right. And then the fifth kind of intelligence I'll quickly talk about is the augmented intelligence. So augmented intelligence has to do with the ability to combine human intelligence and computers. In this case, the computer or the machine is not, as it were, functioning on its own. You are operating it and getting your results. We have seen that in so many ways, including computer-aided drawings, and all the likes. But I'll quickly talk about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, the sixth of them, of course, it still belongs to the category of augmented intelligence. But then artificial intelligence has to do with the ability of computers, to function, the ability of computers to perform functions that normally require human intelligence. It is that engineering of intelligent machines that are capable of performing the same kind of functions as human thought. This concept dates back from ancient times, but the advent of digital computers in the 20th century brought artificial intelligence into the realm of possibilities. The term artificial intelligence has been applied to computer programs and systems capable of performing tasks more complex than straightforward programming, though still far from the realm of actual thought. A typical example of artificial intelligence, as it were, is a case in 1997 where the Russian chess master Garry Kasparov lost a highly publicized series of matches to an IBM computer named Deep Blue. The computer used artificial intelligence to process 200 million chess moves per second in developing a strategy. This was the first time that an international chess grandmaster had lost a series to a computer, suggesting to some observers that advance in artificial intelligence may be surpassing human capacity in some areas. The interesting thing about some of these advanced machines is that you don't see them manned by a human being. They function all by themselves. Another case in point is we just talk about the machine, the Deep Blue. Now we talk about Wabot 2. Wabot 2 is another advanced machinery. In this picture, you see an inventor playing a duet with Wabot 2. Wabot 2 was developed in the 1980s in Japan as one of the world's first personal robots. It represented a milestone in robotics as one of the earliest examples of a robot using artificial intelligence programming. The programming enabled the robot to play, this robot you're seeing on the picture, it was programmed to play a musical keyboard with its human-like hands, as you can see. It was able to read sheet music and then with its electronic eyes, and then it even held a rudimentary conversation with people. Quickly, I'll just talk about the third machine is Mr. Asimo. Asimo is a humanoid robot designed by Japanese engineers at the Honda Motor Company. This 4-foot-tall robot first appeared in public in 2000. It is capable of walking and running. On the picture, you can see Asimo is walking down the stairs. It's capable of walking and running like a human and can climb stairs and reach for objects. The name Asimo stands for Advanced Step in Innovative Mobility. The coronavirus pandemic has seen the Chinese, it is rumored, has seen the Chinese using artificial intelligence through robotics to administer medicaments and food to infected people in isolation and quarantine. Artificial intelligence robots are being developed as personal assistants to hospitalized patients, disabled persons, and among other purposes. So many things can be done with these artificial intelligence equipment. Now, artificial intelligence makes the much talked about 5G necessary, in the development of unmanned vehicles, in the development of unmanned planes and unmanned spacecrafts. I believe that in the coming days, artificial intelligence will throw many humans back into the job market. Why? Because computers will begin to replace human beings in the first um, in the first place and in the workplace. Now, let me share a few thoughts with you on some things I think you need to know about some of these intelligences, particularly the emotional quotient, the social quotient, and the intelligence quotient. Now, most schools capitalize and focus, do all that they do just around improving intelligence quotient levels. They have a way of playing down on emotional quotient and social quotient. The next thing I'd like for you to know that people that have higher, emotional quotient and social quotient appear to go farther in life than people who just have an high IQ but are low in the other intelligences. Also to be observed is the fact that most people with high intelligence quotient end up being employed by people with high emotional quotient and social quotient. Very often, those with the high EQ and SQ have at best an average IQ, but they employ those with high IQ. I have seen a lot of third class graduates start companies and employ first class students. In fact, you rarely find first class students who get anything started. Often being first class already wires you to be for employment, to be employed. You read, you work just hard, just to be employed by the best, companies. And so except you are intentional, you are wired for employment once you're a first class student. But on the other way, while, being third class already compels you to engage your other intelligences because you have a sense of being, disadvantaged. This is the reason why very often those who have advantage with emotional quotients and social quotients are better managers. They are better managers. So your intelligent quotient has to do, or represents your comprehension. Emotional quotient represents character, and your SQ, social quotient, has to do with your charisma. And you and I know that character and charisma are fundamental in pushing through and succeeding in life. I will therefore recommend that whatever it takes, whatever I've got to do, we got to do whatever we got to do to develop habits that will improve all three quotients, but especially your emotional quotient and your social quotient. And please don't teach children. Oh, how could somebody teach children? Oh, okay, don't let your body language suggest to children that only intelligence quotient is important. It's critical that they develop their other quotients. Ladies and gentlemen, now there is a seventh intelligence that I want to talk about. And the focus of this masterclass is not these intelligences already discussed. That's why we're not going to go deeper into them than we already have done. The purpose of this presentation is to emphasize a fourth intelligence. And that intelligence is the adversity quotient. This intelligence measures your ability to go through rough patches in life and come out without losing your mind. Years ago, I was handling a relationship class, and then I told the participants that in the future, one of the interview sessions, any man who intends to get married to any of my daughters will have to do with, one, telling how many times he has lost a great job or a business effort and then bounced back. He has to be able to narrate what strategies helped him to bounce back. And then in addition, I believe that if that has happened in his life more than once, it will be an added advantage. I always told them that you can present today as a worker in a blue chip company or Fortune 500 company. get married this week and get fired the next week. If you don't have the skill set required to turn things around, your present profile may not be useful. We must come to terms with the fact that nothing in life is permanent, and then maximize whatever opportunity we have in life while we can. The truth is this: even the book forbids us from acting presumptuously. In James chapter 4, verse number 13, 14, 15, and 16, the writer says, now listen, you will say today or tomorrow, we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, come carry on business and make money. Now, why do you not even know what will happen tomorrow? Why? You do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. And verse 16 crowns it all. It says, as it is, you boast and brag, and all such boasting is evil. I was told that class that it is one thing to be able to feed yourself, which most people are still struggling with. But as soon as a wife comes into the picture, you can migrate from feeding just one person to feeding 8 persons without further notice. Let's say she gets pregnant almost immediately. Let's also say she's pregnant with a twin. And all too sudden, because of a struggle with early morning sicknesses, then the maid moves in. That's already 2 mouths, plus you 3. And then the babies are born, and so 2 more mouths, that's 5. And then both mother-in-laws move in as in an African setting. That's already 7. And this is apart from other non-resident visitors that will be coming in and out. And before you know it, it's already 8 persons within months. A man who loses his job in this situation without an adversity quotient can abandon the family and disappear, especially if he falls into the category of those who came to the faith because he was told that if he came to Christ, all his problems stand solved. You must have heard that cliché, life without Christ leads to crisis. Well, I have my reservations, because that is only correct if they mean eternal crisis. I believe that life without Christ leads to eternal crisis. Because the truth about it is that it is possible to face a crisis, but you will still come out stronger and better, even as a believer in Christ. You can therefore see that having the skill set that enables you to maximize any crisis in life and bounce back is an incredible intelligence that everyone, and I mean everyone, should intentionally explore. Artificial intelligence, therefore, determines who will give up in the face of trouble. It determines who will abandon their family. It determines who will consider suicide. To develop adversity intelligence, let me suggest, first of all, expose children to other areas of life other than academics. And when I say children here, whether you're a pastor, a teacher, a coach, a mentor, a guardian, the director of a school, whatever platform that gives you the opportunity to raise people, we must expose them to other areas of life other than academics. This gives them options when any door closes. This is not all about children. Even adults must develop their other intelligences. The second thing I want to say quickly is that do not use work as a form of punishment in raising children. I repeat, never use work as a form of punishment. On the contrary, use work as a form of fun, as a kind of game, some form of activity for playtime. The reasons are simple. When you train them to adore manual work, what it does for them is that it makes them love and admire work. Therefore, you must train them to love and adore work, adore sports, adore arts, and then physical labor, physically tasking activities. When you use work as a form of punishment, you are conditioning them to hate and avoid labor and develop a mindset that sees work as the portion of those who have failed to perform in life. This becomes counterproductive. I'll never forget one of those days. My youngest daughter walked into my room and she was all tears, crying because it was her turn to do the dishes. But that's not just the issue. Actually, we moved into this new apartment and then we were still trying to get used to the place. We were not enjoying power supply like we used to have in the neighborhood we were coming from. We had a challenge with water supply, and so there was no water to fix things. And so some of the dishes she was supposed to deal with had been unwashed for a couple of days and had become maggot infested, according to her. And now she was being asked by her elder ones, and they were insisting that she must fix the plates. And so they all walked into the room with her. They were insisting that she must go and wash them. And then what I did, my first reaction was that I dismissed the older ones and then engaged the little girl in a father-daughter conversation. Believe me, in less than 5 minutes after they left, she also left my room all smiles, happy, going to fix the dishes. And what did I do? Simply, I asked her a couple of questions first. I told her and I asked her, I said, if you grow up, you get married, you're in your husband's house, and you find yourself in a situation like this, will you wash the dishes or will you throw them away? She said she would never allow her dishes to get to that point. I said, oh, really? Okay, next question. Now, what if you also find yourself in a situation like this in your husband's house, where there is no water because there is no power supply, and for reasons beyond your control, you're not able to fix the dishes and it gets to this point? Will you throw the dishes away or will you fix them? Then she smiled. And I threw the first point, the third point, and that was it. I said, okay, I believe that you have what it takes to fix those dishes. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you. You go fix those dishes and I'll give you a gift of XYZ amount of money. She burst into laughter. She walked out of my room. She went and fixed the dishes. And then she came back to announce that she had fixed the dishes. And as soon as she came, I gave her the money. And wow, she was so excited. And that made her day. And she was the happiest. What did I do? I helped her discover a capacity for adversity, a capacity to deal with a situation that she thought she was not capable of dealing with. And how did I do that? Make work fun, make it beneficial, make it profit-oriented. When we do that, what it does for them is that it trains them until they become multifaceted and able to do difficult things independently, enjoyably, and then with fun and ease. We must do well, if you ask me, to develop them all around. Emotional quotient, adversity quotient, social quotient, and intelligence quotient. At all times, conditioning oneself to be able to deal with difficult situations is redefined by our ability to decode the overriding benefit of such adventure. Capacity to envision a better future is always at the bedrock of ambitious efforts at going against a storm. That is why instead of praying that certain storms in your life should cease, it's better to pray for dancing skills so that you can start dancing in the storm. You can start dancing in the storm. Now, because my audience is basically Christian, the Holy Book will be my main text for this class and for continuous series and sessions. In order to accommodate their sensitivities. With a different audience, my presentation will be largely different. At this point, I'll make reference to portions from the book that will help to give credence to the benefits of hard work and adversity. One of the first I'd like to consider is Proverbs chapter 13, verse 11. It says, wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. We have no choice to enjoy labor. We must have a mindset for labor. We must have a mindset for adversity to be able to experience increase. And so when we are faced with difficulties, with complications, confusion, as a matter of fact, I did a training on what to do, how to manage confusion, what to do when you're confused. So when we are faced with complexities of life, if we do not have our adversity intelligence in its proper place, we'll miss or ignore or take lots of opportunities for granted. This is because most of the times, the best opportunities in life are going to come in coverall clothes. They're going to come with the look of labor, and if we have not been trained to adore work, then we're going to miss them. The other scripture, like you can see on the screen, is Proverbs 14:13. It says, in all labor, there is profit. In all labor, there is profit. But the talk of the lips tended only to penury. In all adversity, there is profit. In all pain, there is profit. God never wastes a circumstance. Listen to this. If he ever allows a circumstance in your life, it is to the end that he will use it to make you become more like Jesus. It is to the extent that it will make you become all that he's created you to be. It is to the extent that the pain will unlock your potentials as trapped on the inside of you. And so in all labor, there's profit. Every time you find yourself in precarious situations, the first thing that should come to your mind should be, oh, what's in this for me? Or what's the profit? What's the benefit that is hidden somewhere? Because the benefits do not always come to the fore. They are not in the surface. Precious things, treasures are always buried beneath the earth and will always require physical labor. I know that so much is being said about creative and innovative work, and I appreciate all that. But the truth is that there will never be a time when creative work or innovative work will completely replace physical labor. There will always be a place for physical labor. Because creativity will not put the food in your mouth. After you're done with all that, you must use your hands, pick a spoon, put the food in your mouth if you intend to deal with hunger. And so in all labor, in all adversity, there is profit. As soon as we put value on labor, it will change our perspective, it will change our approach, and it will change our response systems. As a matter of fact, it definitely will change our ultimate outcome. Proverbs 21 verse 25 is the third scripture. It says, the desire of the slothful killeth him. The desire of the slothful killeth him, for his hands refuse to labor. All the lazy man does is desire this and that, but he is not disciplined enough to stoop down and match his claims with work. He's going to get himself killed. Desire is amazing. Desire is great, but work is critical. We must labor, or we must value labor. I'll do a couple of scriptures from the New Testament to put credence on the benefits, the advantages of adversity or suffering. The first of them is in Hebrew chapter number 2, verse 9 to 10. Hebrew chapter number 2, verse 9 to 10. There we see Jesus, who was made a little lower than the angels. Can you imagine that? That sounds like a demotion. That sounds like losing your place. That sounds like a system comes up against you and you have been at work for 10 years, no promotion. That sounds like being deprived of your rights. And these are realities. A lot of people going through things, whether in the workplace, it could be in the church, it could be in the community, whether in the family. People are dealing with so much. However, it is how you see what you're going through that defines how you respond to them, and then defines your ultimate success. Because you could still be in this situation and then press the right buttons and being in the next dimension and the next level of your life. Look at that. we see Jesus made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he, by the grace of God, should taste death for everyone. So being made a little lower than angels, and then suffering the suffering of death, we are pivotal to him being crowned with the glory. It's a process, and we must respect the process if we must experience the promise. And adversity intelligence is critical for our being able to process our situations, process our challenges, and process our difficulties into a crown of glory. Glory to God. Glory, glory, glory to God. Verse 10 says, for it became him for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings, to bring him to perfection, to bring him to that place where he stands out, to bring him to that place where he excels, to that place where he's the best that he, in all that he does. He couldn't arrive there except he goes through the track road of sufferings. I believe we need a mindset. Now, how do you respond when you walk in a place and you feel deprived? Resign? Walk out? Now, how do you deal with it? You wouldn't even be able to engage your creativity except you see things differently. Otherwise, the next thing you find, you could fight somebody. You could just misbehave and misfire. But with good adversity and emotional quotient, you are able to come up with something that positions you strategically to become a problem solver in the system to the point where you cannot be ignored. Jesus couldn't be perfect except he went through sufferings. Think about that. If that had to happen to him, you would never be so redeemed that there is no package of that dimension in whatever category, persecution, challenges of life, whatever it is. The other scripture is Hebrews chapter 5 verse 8. It says, even though he were a son, yet he learned obedience by the things he suffered. A son of God, he could become a victim of entitlement mentality and refuse to go through what he might consider a complete nonsense, a complete insult. But you see, he stooped down and learned obedience. Listen to this. Any form of intelligence can be learned, and it's a learned behavior. He learned obedience by the things he suffered. It is a learned behavior. If we are willing to learn, we will come out of any challenge stronger and better. 1 Peter 5 and verse 10 crowns it all when it says, but the God of all grace, who had called us into his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after that ye have suffered a while. It's always for a time frame. Coronavirus is always for a time frame. It will come and go. Those who know how to maneuver adversity will survive it. Those who don't will be swallowed by it. After that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. So what are you going through that's making you virtually lose your mind? What are you going through that's making you really run mad? This is the truth. Sufferings will perfect you. It will stabilize you. It will strengthen you and then settle you and give you your own inheritance among them that are sanctified. Back to the question I asked at the beginning. Whether you are a parent, a coach, a leader, or a pastor, do not prepare the road for the child. Prepare the child for the road. Never, ever prepare the road for the child. Prepare the child for the road. Years ago, while I was still a teenager, I read a book by a foreign author. The book was titled For Women Only. So forgive me that the book was meant for women only, but I had to read it because I was dealing with a lot of stuff as a teenager and I needed answer. So I ravaged every written material at my disposal. And I'll never forget a line in that book where it read that any child who has everything done for him and nothing expected from him is a deprived child. Any child who has everything done for him and nothing expected from him is a deprived child. He will be useless to himself and to everyone around him. Remember, we are told to train up the child in the way he should go. We are also told that when he is old, he will not depart from it. What we are not told is what happens in between. We are only guaranteed what will happen much later when he is old. But this is my challenge to you. If you train up a child in the way he should go, while growing up, if he is like me, he will be explorative and adventurous. He will want to try to explore stuff. She'll want to experiment for herself to validate what she has been told. Intentionally or unintentionally, some of them will appear to be derailing, some of them will appear to be going off course. But what is really happening is this: as they experiment truth and probably, as it were, go off course, they are going to experience pain. But what pain will do to them is this: it'll bring them back to what their mama told them. It'll bring them back to what their papa told them. It'll make them cry to the God of their father and ask for mercy. And they will come back to the God of their father and to the principles and the values of their parents. You remember the story of the prodigal son and how he had to come back. And so what that does for them is that it gives them an edge over those who appear not to have derailed. You know, for them, truth is personalized. Truth is now based on experience. And for such people who have arrived at truth based on personal experience, they have stronger convictions. And what we're missing in our world are men of convictions. They are willing to die for what they believe. They are willing to die for what they have come to discover and realized, having gone through process, haven't gone through pain, haven't gone through some sort of adversity. So when they begin to experiment, you may lose your mind if you don't understand the dynamics of these things. God has guaranteed that if the foundation was done properly, when they are old, they will not depart from it. When he is old, he or she will retrace their steps, and that is why we must provide the platform for them to explore life. Now, there are certain processes, if you ask me, that people are going through that going to help them or bail them out is to truncate the process. Sometimes I wish to God that all our efforts at helping some people to turn out in a certain way will go out there unsuccessful. You know, so that they will really go through the process, come out stronger and better than what we have in mind. I believe that if we put all these into the proper placements and perspectives, it will condition the people that we are raising to develop what it takes to do life. This is the end of lesson 1. Watch out for lesson 2. You can follow me at the IB Experience on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. You can subscribe to the Fifth Gospel TV on YouTube for more videos. If there are questions and comments or reviews, I sure will attend to them. Let me also ask that you partner with me to take the message of hope to countless millions who have no hope. First of all, the way to do that is to share this video. And then you can find other partnership details on my Facebook page at the IB Experience. Thank you for your attention and for being part of this masterclass. See you later.